Welcome back, everyone. This is the Oracle offers some reflections for the new year. In this piece, we're going to do it in this more podcast type of way. I'm going to show some images here, but for this one, you can just listen while you're doing other things, like some of the things that I'm doing as we're closing out this crazy year that we commonly call 2020. Some of the things I'm doing are the simplest things in comparison to so much chaos we've all experienced. Maybe you're doing some of the things I'm doing. For one, I'm giving our home a good deep cleaning, clearing things out, tying up some loose ends, while taking breaks in between, petting our two little pups. It snowed here quite a bit last night, so Dee was out shoveling much of the morning, and we were thankful that we have such great people as neighbors. They helped use their snowblower to take care of our long front sidewalk so we would have much less snow to shovel. We're thankful that the chaos of this past year didn't negatively impact that simple and good relationship we have with those neighbors. The relationship with our neighbors being unaffected negatively by the chaos of this past year, however, is just one of few very rare exceptions. Almost every single relationship that we had was negatively impacted this past year. For us, this past year has been completely life-altering. In so many ways, life can be altered. It's been a year also of the highest level learning, and it's been a fantastic honor to start sharing such enormous discoveries with those of you who care and have supported our work. What this past year has taught me more than anything is that you are the ones that this work is meant for. I'm talking to the very small number of you who will actually watch our video, no matter how long or short, all the way through, the ones that are actually engaged with the truth taught to you within them, because you yourself were actively seeking the truth in the real, authentic way that you were before you ever got here to our channel to discover this truth for yourself. Further rarefied, even still, are those of you who have been brave enough to give a like on our video or offer a supportive comment. And rarest of all, after taking in our discoveries shown here publicly on our channel, send us an email about our private video series to see it because you're ready. I'm talking to you. I respect those kind of people. You're my kind of people. This is probably where I'm going to lose the rest of you, who quite directly I will say, you probably shouldn't be here anyway. And honestly, before this past year, I don't think I could have imagined myself saying that in quite that way. But before what's happened during this past year, I have to admit that even with everything I knew before that point, I was still far too idealistic about the overall condition of most people today. In short, we're collectively unwell in a way that I would scarcely have been able to imagine before. And I also admit that realizing this has been traumatizing for me. But it's also been a full-on experience of freedom that's come out of it. Having to face your fears unmasked and move towards growth and ever more rarefied development over some pretty rough territory while doing it. But I'm sure as you're hearing me say that, you've learned the same thing. That's usually how the path lays itself out for you, if you're going to walk it, that is. And if that was an easy thing to do, everyone would do it. And it's just because it's not easy. Almost no one that you know ends up walking the truth-seeking path. And that's because you have to meet the truth completely unmasked. And it's not something that you can fake your way through either. So as we take a look around, where we live at least, we see 99% of people out everywhere in masks. And it's been this way since the beginning of May. So almost 9 months now. All of them still wearing masks. Even more convinced, even if they've unknowingly participated in this ritual, they're now convinced, of course, that the illness that they were taught to be so fearful of really is as bad as was said by all the people on the news. And of course it's real. How dare you question it? Because now they or someone they know has had it. As someone who is an expert in public health, it's become truly maddening for me to witness this, especially from the people I absolutely know should know better in healthcare. But they actually seem to have completely forgotten what they know, what they were taught, or they don't really care. And that was an even more heartbreaking realization to make. Now, in the end, I know that no matter what industry we're talking, for most people, it gets down to the very simple, basic issue of money and keeping that steady flowing paycheck coming in. To live in this society, you must have money. Pretty simple. Something we all know, right? Without the resources that only money can buy, right? Life can really very quickly become very difficult. This is a position that no one is looking to put themselves in intentionally, and it will be avoided in any way that they can, right? Even if they're placed in this situation unintentionally, there's everything that will be done to avoid it. In this society, money is tied to our very survival. So triggering fears about the lack of money, knowing that it's tied to our survival instincts, is exactly why those who have written this illness script from the Sky Story template tied it in with our fears about lack of money and resources to go along with it. And it's all really pretty sick. But what I've realized through all of this is something that honestly probably had to take this to get me to see it. I have to admit, as sad as it is, most people simply want it this way. It sounds crazy, right? But it's true. They love being fooled by the magic trick. They love the entertainment of it, being tricked and not being able to figure out how. And they don't want to know how the trick is done in the end. That would take all their fun away. They love to be scared. They love heightened emotions, the huge drama of it all. It's exciting to them. That's the way they've been programmed. And they especially love to share their story about it on Facebook. But they absolutely hate anyone, someone like me, for example, who comes along asking all the right questions. They hate the truth when they hear it spoken and hate the person who speaks it too. Because the lie is their fun, and you're just trying to take that away from them too. Now I know that just sounds so hopelessly childish and terrible, right? Well, it's actually much worse than that. It's quite pathetic. Yet in all of this pathetic sickness that has shown itself from behind the masks, we're all still way better off for really knowing the truth about our collective condition because of how freeing it ends up being for us to see it for what it really is and to let it go. That's something I had to come to terms with. I had to remember that knowing the truth and letting it transform you into a being of wisdom is real power, and that anyone who hasn't gone through that process, well, they don't know anything about it. They don't know anything about that kind of real power. So I've learned even more this past year about not expending any of my power or energy toward further suffering any fools. I heard a tarot card reader say that one time about a particular card that she was talking about, the Queen of Swords. She said the Queen of Swords doesn't suffer any fools. And it stuck with me. Pun totally intended. But it's resonated with me lately really deeply. As I reflected back on what she said about the Queen of Swords not suffering any fools, it seemed at the time to me to be rather emotionally cold, a little too cold for my taste. But now I can appreciate how much wisdom and freedom is really there in no longer suffering any fools and how much sense it really makes. I don't have any time for the same conversations that go along with such foolishness. Especially when I know that however few there may be, there are still people out here like you. You may be the only people on earth that are really ready to psychologically handle the kind of things that we're teaching right now. But it's still even that much more important for me to put my efforts toward reaching as many of people like you as we can. Those who are ready to support the work that we're doing, and 100% of our focus needs to be on sharing it with people like you. Now, if this was a business, because we know there's so few of you, if we were running a business here, I realize that this would be a terrible business plan and a terrible marketing plan on top of it, and probably would not, let's say, make us successful in terms of making us rich by following this plan that I've just laid out. But really what it gets down to is that we don't have any other choice. So I want to at least, let you guys know that are listening, that are interested, because some of you have made suggestions, and we've received questions from some of you about some of this, so it's relevant. We will not be showing any advertising on our videos. So if any advertising should pop up in the future on our videos, we didn't put it there. We made a conscious decision not to support as much as possible in any way that we could. We didn't want to support any advertisers, products, or people who are profiting from lying to you. So we don't have any control over this platform here. So if the platform decides to run ads, it was not our decision. I hope that, at this point you've realized that most of the big quote-unquote truth channels or YouTube teachers on the internet are what we call controlled oppers or paid shills, or they're simply hung up on maybe it's, what is the source of their paycheck, or they believe that there's a solution found in politics or religion. They're hung up somewhere that they just can't break through yet. Those type of people we're obviously not going to be reaching. They're not going to be interested in our work, and I think it would be a waste of time to attempt to engage a discussion with them about it. We have attempted, when we made these discoveries initially, to share them with some scholars and researchers and people out there that we thought weren't obviously any shills or controlled opposition type people, to share this discovery with them and, hopefully gain their interest. But it was received about as well as trying to tell what I call the zombies about the truth. Only the response from the scholars and researchers we attempted to reach with this was decidedly more quiet. But the point is that you shouldn't hang around and wait for any of these big truth channels, to make this discovery of our work and engage in a discussion with us, because we are not in their network, and that's just never going to happen. What it comes down to is it's just us. So we have to ask directly for your support in any way that you can offer it. And there's going to be some things that going forward here I'm going to be doing differently. Small changes, but, they're things that I think will help and maybe offer you a way to offer more support if that's something that you can do. So one of the things that you may notice if you stop by the channel, the thumbnail images are going to change on some of the videos. So it's a small thing, but, even though it's a small number of people that I think are going to end up being reached with our work, a thumbnail image on a video is your first impression of our work, right? And so I think that you're totally worth it. So if you stop by our channel and notice that things look a little differently, that's why. And I know you've been quiet up till now, but leave a comment below. Let us know what you think about the new thumbnails. We're also going to be working on things like simple t-shirt designs that are relevant to the work. That'll be an opportunity to support the work and, have something cool as a souvenir, right, to take along with you for going on this fabulous trip with us that you all are. So those kind of things are coming in the future. I've got some other ideas that I've been working on as I've been doing things like doing a deep cleaning of our home and, tying up loose ends on our channel here on YouTube and, in the home environment that we live in. And, I know this is normally a time of New Year's resolution traditions, right? When you look up the origins of the word resolution, you find that it comes from dissolve. And I had planned when I originally was going to do this video to talk a lot about the zombies and the Liar Liar Pants on Fire Secret Drama Society and so much more about all the things that I've learned. But some of those things I realized that if I don't want to take forward with me, I just have to leave them where they are and let them dissolve. So no more expending energy and trying to convert any zombies to real people, and no efforts will be extended in trying to reach any quote-unquote truth channels or truth teachers or scholars or researchers. 100% of our focus, to which I'm fully committed, is going to be exclusively on gaining the support from individual people like you. You're the only ones with real power and the only support that we're able to receive. So it's even more appreciated, even more valued on our end. And in advance for that, we thank you. So I think that that's a good place to end this one right here. And of course, we're going to be picking things back up in our next decoding video. So as always, as we go into this, what I'm sure is certain to be yet another transformative year, be well.